DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click the icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The city of Clinton has big dreams for future development, but one hurdle to some of those goals is the development of TIF districts. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton City Administrator Tony Harris told the Hart Media Group he updated the Clinton City Council Tuesday night of his efforts to pursue the establishment of multiple TIF districts in Clinton.
That was a good meeting, and I gave a report. I think I mentioned last time I was in that I was coming up on my year anniversary with the city, and that was January the 13th. So basically, I gave them a report of some things that I would like to see going into 2026. We got a few good things done last year, my first year, but I feel like I have a better grip on what I'm doing. So we've got the mayor and I and the council, we've got some good ideas going into 2026, and lots of good things with the two new businesses coming in, and several calls on other businesses looking to come in.
Really?
So good things, and basically just gave the council my ideas of going into 2026. I talked a little bit about housing. I frequently update housing. I mentioned this several times too. The partnership between myself, the city, and DCDC and Kurt Homan. We have been working on this pretty much nonstop. I mean, we talk daily about the housing crisis. So, we rolled up our sleeves and went to work on it.
According to Harris, there are developers interested in residential housing in Clinton. However, to help those interested parties, the city needs to establish TIF districts to help them recoup their costs.
We've met with a developer that's looking pretty good. They've got some interest in some property on the east side of town. I can't disclose the location because it's not a done deal yet. We've got them in contact with the owner of the land to try to purchase that land. So it's gone that far where they're looking at purchasing that land. We also got some potential growth on the east side as well for businesses and housing. So lots of things going on there. But the very first thing that I'm asked whenever we sit down at the table with a potential new business or a developer with land, that they ask about TIF. Do you have a TIF district in the city? Because these developers, they know that's what they need to recoup some of their costs to build subdivisions or businesses. So that's the first thing they ask. And I've mentioned that numerous times. The mayor, Clint, and I attended a TIF conference back in the end of summer in Chicago at the IML conference, and we learned a lot about TIF, and we learned that we've got some good ideas coming out of that conference, and we believe that we need to hire a consultant to help us through this. We do have one active TIF in the city, and that's the downtown.
For Harris, his goal is to create two new TIF districts, one on the west side of the community and the other on the east side. One of these TIF districts would coincide with the city's desire to see the community cleaned up.
But what the idea is to, get the contract to help us with those two TIF districts. But then I've also started working on two brand new TIF districts. And these, again, we've got to consult with our consultant once we hire that firm. But the plan is to have, my plan anyway, is to have two pretty good sized TIF districts, one on the west side and one on the east side. Basically, the business growth that I talked about earlier and the housing on both sides would be in that TIF district. But not only that, we're not looking to just help businesses. I mean, that's where the tax increment comes from, is the business. They pay a higher tax into this TIF district to help help them because they'll benefit from it. But not only them, our idea is to also help residential, like housing, not a new housing complex, not a new subdivision, but also help the struggling homeowner that needs to put new siding on their house, new windows on their house, new doors, roof, things like that. That's what we're checking into, to do some housing work similar to what we offer on the square through that TIF. We call that a facade grant. We would be guaranteeing something more along the lines of that to a residential home to help offset the cost to, like I said, put on new siding, things like that. Anything to make the housing in the area more attractive. Again, I've mentioned it numerous times. I mean, to get to attract businesses, we've got to get our home cleaned up. We pass ordinances. We're trying to get the homes cleaned up that way. This is one more step in that direction, is to make the housing market look more attractive, with siding, windows, things like that.
Harris hopes to see these TIF districts established as soon as this summer. While aggressive, he indicates there are businesses ready to develop in Clinton that are waiting for things like this to be established. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, U of I Extension to host beekeeping seminar. A Central Illinois sheriff admits he was apprehensive regarding the prospects of entering the space of drone usage, but says these concerns have very quickly been put to rest after they have been proven to be very beneficial. Piatt County Sheriff Mark Vogelsang told the Hart Media Group last week on the WHOW morning show he was hesitant to pursue drones because they have had good partnerships with neighboring departments to use theirs. That was until a grant became available.
Initially we had looked at it and I wasn't real excited about going out and purchasing one because there were some other entities around here that we could use, but we had an opportunity to jump on a grant that provided the drone for free for us.
Cool.
Never turned down anything free. Now that we have it, I wouldn't be without one. We were able to get 2 people certified to fly it back in November. And in the 2 short months we've had it, we've had 3 different instances where we've deployed it. And it really helps to keep the officers and those that we're looking for safe. The first one that we had, it was some burglars that were burglarizing a large empty factory here, and they were hidden in the bushes as the officers were walking around trying to locate them. We were able to put the drone up, use their heat signature. It's got thermal capabilities, and find them and then walk the officers in. The second one was a suicidal subject that was on a railroad track. So there's a huge stretch of ground to try and cover. A lot of times if somebody doesn't want to be found, they hide themselves in the brush and stuff. This, we're able to get up, pinpoint where that person was hiding, and then walk the officers in from a safe distance so that they can start giving verbal commands versus walking right up on the person and potentially getting in an altercation with them.
According to the sheriff, there is a lot of regulation around the usage of drones in Illinois and training that coincides with their use.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of red tape. That's why we send our staff that are going to be flying it to that school. They do get certified to become a drone pilot. But yeah, there's restrictions on when you can use it as far as the ceiling, visibility, things like that. We also have to file a report with the state's attorney's office every time that we use it without a court order. So those 3 instances, wow. Short time after using them, the drone pilot is required to send a letter documenting the information to the state's attorney's office.
The unit's versatility has been very beneficial. Sheriff Vogelsang says that between the various features on the drones, plus their ability to navigate different types of weather, they have proven to be a great resource.
3x3-ish. They're not huge, but they can fly in quite a bit of different weather. The nice thing with ours is not only does it have that thermal capability, but we're able to record. We have a PA system on it, so we are able to communicate with that person. But the other thing that's been a nice addition is the spotlight on it. It is quite bright, so now we're able to illuminate the individual we're looking for. But then also on the last 2 instances, the drone pilot used that white light to help guide the officers out across the field. And the last one was out of a set of woods. the quickest direction to the nearest road. So they're able to use that white light to help guide them out of wherever they're at.
The department secured a grant through the local railroad operation.
Yeah, it was through one of the local railroads. We just ended up applying. We ended up getting, I believe it was about $13,000 to purchase this drone and get the system up and running. So it's been a great tool.
Cool.
To be at a unrelated class with a subject from Macon County. Macon County had used the same grant, and just talking to him, found out about it and applied.
The sheriff indicates they are researching a smaller drone with indoor capabilities. He says it has been such a benefit to the department, he wouldn't want to be without it. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum for Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 20 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Beekeeping is a growing hobby as people join in the effort to help save a declining population of pollinators. Terry Casey, University of Illinois Extension Director in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, explains that they've hosted the Introduction to Beekeeping class for almost 20 years, and a new session begins on February 12th.
Our very, very popular Introduction to Beekeeping. I think we're almost at 20 years at this point of doing this program. It's extremely popular for those interested in becoming beekeepers and getting quite a comprehensive look at, hive keeping and being a beekeeper. We have 6 sessions that are held on Thursdays between February 12th and March 19th. And those are in the evening from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. At our Sangamon Extension office in Springfield. And then we do have a Zoom option for those folks who can't come in person. There's also a Zoom option, which really expands the range of folks that we can serve. And it's a $45 registration fee, but anyone who's went through it will tell you it is well worth the expense, just for the expertise and the knowledge that you gain.
Casey stresses the class is very popular because honeybees are facing stress from factors like invasive species and habitat loss. Many are unaware of just how crucial they are to the ecosystem.
Yes, and our native honeybees have been under stress due to invasive species, habitat loss, and a lot of other things that we're still trying to determine. I think the word's gotten out that honeybees are in stress. So not only is this a great opportunity or option to make some money through beekeeping, it's also an opportunity to help, expand and protect our hives, especially for our native honeybee species. Yeah. So this class is taught by experienced beekeepers. Mm-hmm. And they've been doing it for decades, so they really, really know their stuff. They know about the pest, the disease, the equipment, like how best to where to place your hives, lots of information about colony health. So if you're thinking about starting, I think $45 and 6 sessions, this will give you an amazing head start. Not to mention, you will be connected with these beekeepers so that as you go on your journey, you have others you can reach out to and get support. Mm-hmm.
Again, these sessions are every Thursday starting February 12th to March 19th at the Sangamon County Extension Office with a Zoom option offered. Registration is $45. You can learn more at extension.illinois.edu/LMS. A quiet start on the weather front as we begin February in Illinois. Temperatures may climb into the 50s next week, but things will get more active, says DTN agricultural meteorologist John Baranek.
What's really going to bring us the warm air is we're going to replace this cold trough in the east with a warm ridge. And then we're going to take all the warm air that's out in the west and make that cold. And so we kind of get this storm track that likes to go right in between the two. And that's right through the middle of the country. And so I'm sure we'll get some chances for at least some rain early to mid next week, and with one system kind of going across the north. But then a system going across the south late next week, maybe just cold enough on the northern edge of it across Illinois to give us some snow. We'll have to see on that. And then there's a couple of systems after that. I mean, we're going to be in kind of an active weather pattern, I think, for the middle of February. And we'll just have to see where those storm systems go. We don't know where they're going to be. More likely it's going to be snow for me up here in Minnesota than for you down in Illinois, but we'll have to watch those tracks. The further south they go, the more likely you are to get some snow down there. And if we've got some warm air out there and some cold air off in the west, that could end up being some heavy snowmaking material. So we'll have to watch that pretty closely.
He says there is a potential for freezing rain, but nothing to the extent of what occurred in Nashville last week. A cheese factory in Northwest Illinois is expanding. Savencia Cheese USA will add a production line at its facility in Lena, which will create 50 new full-time positions while retaining 125 existing jobs, says Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Director Kristen Richards. Savencia Cheese USA, a subsidiary of the French company Savencia SA, acquired its Kolb Lena facility in 1987. Savencia specializes in the production and distribution of high-quality specialty cheeses across the United States, offering a diverse range of cheese products that serve both gourmet and everyday customers. Now for your local obituaries. Cody Daniel Warren, 33, of Farmer City, Illinois, passed away at 9:05 a.m. Thursday, January 29th in Coles County, Illinois. Visitation will be held today, Thursday, February 5th, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Trinity Community Fellowship, 1300 West Clinton Avenue in Farmer City. His memorial service will be held 11 a.m. Friday, February 6th at Trinity Community Fellowship in Farmer City, with Pastor Dave Jasmine officiating. Annulment will be at a later date. In lieu of flowers, memorials may be made to the Cody D. Warren Children's Fund in care of Heartland Bank and Trust Company, 333 South Main Street in Farmer City. Calvert Bangley Bruce Funeral Home of Farmer City is assisting the family with arrangements. Donna K. Worth, 79, of McLean, passed away at Carl Broman Medical Center on Thursday, January 29th. Cremation rites have been accorded. A private family celebration of life will be held. Memorials in Donna's name may be made to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Final arrangements have been entrusted with Quirum Peasley Funeral Home of Atlanta. Jerry S. Farrell, 61, of DeWitt, Illinois, passed away at 10:55 a.m. January 28th at Westmoreland Hospital in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Arrangements are incomplete at Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton. Leo Eddie E. Evans Jr., 65, of Maroa, passed away on Friday, January 30th at his home. A celebration of his life will be held on Friday, February 13th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Knights of Columbus, 217 Limit Street in Lincoln, Illinois. Cremation rights have been accorded. Queer and Peasley Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Ruby Renee Brad, 9, of Clinton, passed away at 1:01 a.m. January 27th at HSHS St. John's Children's Research Hospital in Springfield, Illinois. Services will be 10 a.m. Saturday, February 7th at First Christian Church in Clinton with Stephen Brad officiating. Private family burial will be at a later date. Visitation will be 4 to 8 p.m. Friday, February 6th at the church. Calvert Funeral Home in Clinton is in charge of arrangements. Memorials may be directed to Ruby's Garden in care of Stephen Brad. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The last remaining nuclear arms agreement between Russia and the U.S. expires today, lifting limits on their atomic arsenals for the first time in over 50 years. Ahead of tomorrow's U.S.-Iran nuclear talks, President Trump says Iran's supreme leader should be very worried if he's trying to rebuild Iran's nuclear program. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie's family is pleading for her safe return. The mother of today's show's co-host, Savannah Guthrie, was abducted from her Arizona home last weekend. All patients safely evacuated following last night's fire at the Orthopedic Institute of Lehigh Valley Hospital in Dixon City, Pennsylvania. That is just north of Scranton. On Wall Street, the Dow futures 28 points higher. NASDAQ futures are down 31 points, and the S&P futures off 2. More details, srnnews.com.
Meet Lee Platts, a renter whose possessions fill not only her apartment, but also the darkest corners of a mini storage unit. A land of both truth and fiction. Truth, everything inside is protected by Progressive. Fiction, one day Lee will fit into her clothes from senior year of high school. Renters, discover coverage for what you love and what you can't get rid of in Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
The stock market is at an all-time high. The dollar is under pressure, and leading economists are warning that the global financial system is changing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 right now to get your free gold investment guide, plus your free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Find out about a tax and penalty-free rollover in 2026. Gold and silver can surge when the economy shifts, and they don't wait for permission. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Andrei Stojakovic scored 17 points, and the number 5 Illinois Fighting Illini made 17 three-pointers in an 84-44 win over the Northwestern Wildcats on Wednesday night. Keaton Wagler, Zvonimir Ivisic, and Ben Hummerkaus each had 13 points for Illinois, who improves to 20-3 and 11-1 in the Big Ten, and won their 12th straight game. David Mirkovic had 12 points, and Tomislav Ivisic had 12 rebounds. 6 players made threes for Illinois, which shot 17 of 38 from beyond the arc. Wagler, whose 19th birthday was Tuesday, has scored in double figures in 15 straight games and 20 times this season. He banked in a 3 from half court with 4 seconds left in the first half, giving Illinois a 47-19 lead at halftime. Northwestern falls to 10-13 and 2-10 in the Big Ten. They shot 29% from the field, including 4 of 25 on three-pointers, and did not have a player score in double figures. Nick Martinelli, the Big Ten's leading scorer, had just 4 points, 19 under his average. He was 2 of 10 from the field while playing 27 minutes. Trey Singleton led the Wildcats with 8 points. The Illini out-rebounded Northwestern 50-23. They've out-rebounded teams in 20 of 23 games with an 18-2 record in those games. Northwestern plays Sunday at Iowa, while Illinois plays Saturday at number 10 Michigan. Zach Werenski became the first defenseman to score 20 goals before an Olympic break. Jet Greaves got his second shutout of the season, and the Columbus Blue Jackets extended their winning streak to 7 with a 4-0 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks on Wednesday night. Ivan Povarov, Danton Heinen, and Sean Monahan also scored for Columbus, which has won 10 of 11 since Rick Bowness became coach on January 12th. Columbus was 7 games out of a playoff spot when Bowness was hired to replace Dean Evason. The Blue Jackets enter the Olympic break only 2 points behind the New York Islanders for third place in the Metropolitan Division. Greaves stopped 21 shots for his 4th career shutout in 58 games this season. Charlie Coyle added 2 assists. Spencer Knight made 16 saves for the Blackhawks, who have dropped 5 of 6. Werenski extended his scoring streak to 7 straight games at 4 minutes and 46 seconds of the first period with a snapshot from the bottom of the left faceoff circle that deflected off the skate of Chicago's Louis Crevier. Werenski, who joined Phil Housley and Reed Larson as the only American defenseman with consecutive 20-goal seasons, has 2 goals and 8 assists during his scoring run. Povarov made it 2-0 at 12 minutes and 50 seconds of the first period when he went top shelf with a wrist shot past Knight to the short side. Columbus defensemen have scored a league-high 44 points this season. The Blackhawks are at Nashville after the Olympic break on February 26th, while the Blue Jackets are at Boston on February 26th. Stars captain Jamie Benn snapped a 15-game goal drought by scoring twice, including the game winner with 23 seconds left, and Dallas beat the St. Louis Blues 5-4 on Wednesday night to go into the Olympic break with a 6-game winning streak. Robertson scored his 32nd goal this season in the first off a nifty pass from Mikko Rantanen, who had to regain control of the puck while going toward the net and pushed it across to Robertson to his right. It was the 431st career game for Robertson, the 39th overall pick in 2017, after the Stars had already taken defenseman Miro Heiskanen and goalie Jake Oettinger in that draft. Oettinger, one of 7 Stars going into the Olympics, made 14 saves to win his 6th game in a row. Blues goalie Jordan Binnington, who will be on Canada's Olympic team, stopped 23 shots. Jordan Kyrou had a goal and an assist for the Blues, who won only once in their last 9 games before the break. Pavel Buncevich had a power play goal for St. Louis, which has scored with a man advantage in 7 of its last 8 games. Jimmy Snuggerud's unassisted goal in the third made him the first Blues rookie since Kevin Shattenkirk in 2011 to have a 6-game point streak. Snuggerud also assisted on Alexei Tropachenko's goal with 4 minutes and 29 seconds left that tied it at 4. It's the longest winning streak this season for Dallas, all by 1 goal, and 3 of them against the Blues. Both teams host Seattle in their first game after the Olympic break. Dallas plays the Kraken on February 25th, and St. Louis takes them on the next day. The Charlotte Hornets agreed to acquire Coby White and Mike Conley Jr. from the Chicago Bulls on Wednesday in exchange for Colin Sexton, Ousmane Dieng, and 3 future second-round draft picks. The Hornets announced earlier in the day that they had acquired Dieng and a second-round pick from Oklahoma City for center Mason Plumlee. White, the number 7 overall pick in the 2019 draft, joins a Hornets team that is surging towards its first playoff appearance in a decade, having won 7 straight games behind a young core of players. He averaged 18.6 points, 4.7 assists, and 3.7 rebounds per game for the Bulls, shooting 34.6% from three-point range, down slightly from his career average of 36.8%. Although it's unclear where he fits into the Hornets rotation, White gives Charlotte yet another scorer to join LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Con Knuppel, and Miles Bridges. The Hornets are 23-28 and currently 11th in the Eastern Conference, but they are 12-1 when they've started a lineup that includes Ball, Miller, Knuppel, and Bridges, and center Moussa Diabate, all of whom are now healthy. Knuppel has won 3 straight Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month awards, while Miller was named last week's Conference Player of the Week. The 25-year-old White has spent 7 seasons with the Bulls, averaging 15.4 points, 3.9 assists, and 3.7 rebounds. Sexton has been Ball's primary backup at point guard this season and has given the Hornets a boost off the bench, averaging 14.2 points, 3.7 assists in 42 games, while shooting 39.3% on threes. White scored 33,573 points for Greenfield High School in Wilson, North Carolina from 2014 to 2018. And White played 1 season in college at North Carolina before turning pro. He continues to host youth basketball camps on campus during offseason. Former All-Star outfielder Austin Hayes and the Chicago White Sox finalized a $6 million one-year contract on Wednesday. Hayes will have a $5 million salary this season, and the contract includes an $8 million mutual option for 2027 with a $1 million buyout. To make room for him on the 40-man roster, Chicago designated left-hand pitcher Brian Hudson for assignment. Chicago was seeking a veteran outfielder, particularly after trading Luis Robert Jr. to the New York Mets last month to help a young team. The 30-year-old Hayes has played in the postseason the last 3 years with Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati. He was an all-star with the Orioles in 2023 when he hit .275 with 16 homers and 67 RBIs. But he's dealt with multiple injuries since then, as well as a kidney infection. In 2024, Hayes was sent to Philadelphia prior to the trade deadline and batted .256 with 2 homers and 6 RBIs in 22 games for the Phillies while dealing with the kidney problem. He finished the season with a .255 average, 5 homers, and 20 RBIs. He became a free agent when the Phillies opted not to offer him a contract. Hayes signed a 1-year contract with the Reds and hit .266 with 15 home runs and 64 RBIs in 103 games. The White Sox have 3 straight 100-loss seasons. They finished last in the AL Central at 60 and 102 last year. They also made a 19-game improvement from 2024 when they went 41 and 121 to set a modern major league record for losses. The White Sox believe they are poised to improve with a promising core of returning young players. Other offseason moves included signing Japanese slugger Munetaka Murakami. In scores from around the NBA last night, in double overtime, the New York Knicks beat the Denver Nuggets 134-127, while the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Toronto Raptors 128-126. The Boston Celtics handled the Houston Rockets 114-93, and the Milwaukee Bucks beat the New Orleans Pelicans 141-137 in overtime. The OKC Thunder fell to the San Antonio Spurs 116-106, and the Memphis Grizzlies beat the Sacramento Kings 129-125. The LA Clippers fell to the Cleveland Cavaliers 127-91. In scores from around the NHL last night, the Florida Panthers beat the Boston Bruins 5-4 in a shootout, while the Montreal Canadiens took down the Winnipeg Jets 5-1. The Minnesota Wild beat the Nashville Predators 6-5 in overtime. The San Jose Sharks fell to the Colorado Avalanche 4-2, and the Utah Mammoth beat the Detroit Red Wings 4-1. The Seattle Kraken beat the LA Kings 4-2, and the Calgary Flames took down the Edmonton Oilers 4-3, while the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-2. In scores from NCAA men's basketball, number 10, Michigan State was upset by Minnesota 76-73. Number 8, Houston beat University of Central Florida 79-55. Number 24, Louisville beat Notre Dame 76-65. While number 16, BYU was upset by Oklahoma State 99-92. Number 20, Clemson beat Stanford 66-64, and Portland upset number 6 Gonzaga 87-80. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL Sports Wire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Vucci